Hello, 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 and welcome to the very first live Goblin's Lair. I'm excited. We actually got a live one. I wasn't even sure if this was ever going to be alive, and I'm here with the absolutely lovely, fantastic Sam, and I cannot believe it. Well known soon for Spontaneum. And he's got a new show. It's called Spontaneum. Go check it out. It's on Twitch. It's also on YouTube. There are links in the description. Absolutely go check him out. If you don't know him from there yet, go check that out because I watched it yesterday and it was it's such a great concept, and you'll tell us about that in a minute. But if you don't know him from that, he is also role-playing and role-playing. He does shitty ideas. You might see me retweeting that. You might see me do some art of them once in a while because, man, those ideas are hilarious. So, Sam, how are you? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I am doing good. I am here. I am present. I am in a shitty state of mind, as I would say, which really doesn't mean much, does it? I mean, but it is good in this instance.
Does shitty mean whatever you want it to?
Of course it does. Oh shoot! I don't have my Infinity Gauntlet with me. Unfortunately, I would have brought it out, but yes, I'm very happy to be here. Very excited. It's always great to see like just one of Chesh's drawings just appear. I'm like, oh shit, nice.
Oh,
it's like what's a good comparison? It's like finding like an onion ring in like your fries at a fast food joint.
Or you get like that one curly
never
fry.
Like afford the extra buck, but you get like an onion ring in your fries. Like, hot damn, this is great.
I wasn't prepared for that.
Day.
You know what? I'll tell you that's the best compliment I think I've ever gotten.
It's a surprise kind of ambush, and I'm a big fan. But yeah, my name is Sam Comerford. As previously mentioned, you probably, if you're on Twitter and you like Dungeons and Dragons, you may know me as the guy who makes shitty ideas. I do those every day, basically. I've got a book for that coming out in just a bit. Also, I now am doing, obviously, Roleplaying also has a podcast, so you should check that out too if you like the Wild West, because we're doing that. Also, brand new project of mine, I am now on Twitch with Spontaneum, which is, as previously mentioned, a new Dungeons & Dragons show. And on it, the premise is that I am the Dungeon Master, and essentially I just assemble a cast of people. They come with characters prepared, but I don't know the setting. I roll for it on stream, and then everything is completely improvised, and we go from there. First stream was last night. You can check it out at twitch.tv/Spontaneum Show. So I think it's a lot of fun personally.
I had a blast watching.
Yeah.
I was already sketching characters.
Point.
I was drawing a pixie while I was watching.
Oh yeah, Allie's character was wild. Yeah, I should have you on at some point. I think that'd be pretty cool.
I would die. I think not only in game but also. I would have.
I think you'd fit right in.
Thank you.
I've got to. Yeah, it's interesting because I'm such an over preparer typically. And not like forcing myself not to prepare for this at all, going in completely blind, is both exhilarating and extremely anxiety-inducing. But it is a lot of fun. I really
pushes you out of your boundaries.
It does push me on my boundaries. And yeah, it's I think very entertaining at the very least, even if the story's not fantastic.
Oh, I loved it. I was all about the lobster rolls.
Oh yes, Snippers.
Also the baseball cat that changed his voice.
Oh yes, what was it? The baseball cap of Eastern European accents.
Yes,
I think that was.
Yes, again, absolutely.
I make this all up on the fly.
It was amazing.
I don't expect myself to remember any of this.
That's why you have it recorded. Watch it later.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, because I can't. If I want to do like a back reference or like an in joke, I won't remember.
Somebody's gonna have to make a set of D&D dice, or at least a D20 that has a lobster on it, and it's red.
Oh my god!
You get a red one and a green one.
Roll.
For the lobster roll,
exactly. A literal lobster roll.
Make it one of those like big hefty dice, or like glued
Ooh.
together carapace.
That would be an interesting dice. I'm wondering what the real sort of functionality of that would be. I think that'd be pretty cool though. I'd want a crab dice.
I wonder if you could
Crab
make
die.
like a D&D themed lobster roll like dish for food.
Maybe if you had like an ice cube tray for like D6s, D20s and stuff, and you put like the lobster in there and kind of smushed it into like dice shapes. Maybe I don't know. I'm no chef.
You could like tempura fry it in that shape.
I don't know if that's necessarily a lobster roll anymore, but I do like that idea. I think like
Well, it's
just
a
in
roll
general,
because you can roll the dice. It's lobster because it's lobster.
Oh, so you're getting them on semantics.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I like it. That's the best. That's the best kind.
Technically correct.
Technically correct.
All right, so today we're going to discuss a little bit about sort of table etiquette, and I think you're such a great person to talk about it, particularly with Spontaneum, because you've got so many different players coming different times, interacting entirely different situations, and very, very improvised. So what do you tell your players as like, hey, listen, this is the show that I run, this is the table I run, and then how does that different from like your home table?
That's a great question. So in terms of Spontaneum, I did run into some roadblocks when I was kind of getting my first wave of guests on it, because apparently I did not explain well enough that this show is like entirely improvised. I just did not. I was too excited, and I just kind of typed a big blurb and then copy and pasted that for every single person who I wanted to be a guest. And then they're like, "So is this like a long-term commitment?" I'm like, "Oh shit, no, this is just one shots. This is one shots, and if you like, you can come back. That's it.
I mean, was what blew my mind a little bit, was that it was just actually a one shot. Every time I've tried to play a one shot, it goes on for like a month.
Yeah, and again, I think one thing I really like about Spontaneum is the real freedom I can have with it. Like, I can have people come back, not only as guests, because I will definitely have guests come back, but they can even bring their old characters if they want. I mean, there's no rhyme or reason to this shit anyways. I mean, it's wild, it's wacky, nothing needs to make sense.
Right.
And I think that's sort of something I have to inform people about when the show begins. And then, because these groups typically haven't played with each other before, well, last night's was pretty good. I think only one person was kind of relatively new to the game and the
I noticed that.
industry. Yeah. But she did a fantastic job anyways.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And it's you really have to kind of set those boundaries and say, okay, this is going to be live. And the fact of the matter is, because this isn't like a real setting or anything, it's something I've planned, you could give me whatever you're uncomfortable with in game, whatever you don't want to see happen, tell me up front, and it will not happen. It will not occur.
Yeah.
So for last night, we had multiple members in the group that said, hey, harming animals is a big no for me. I'm like, okay. Which is why Snippers was this big humanoid crustacean, and when they attacked, spoilers, the lobsters that came in through the vents, they were just sent back to the plane they came from. So I didn't very specifically was trying to avoid them needing to harm animals.
Well, that's a really good compromise, right? Because you didn't have no animals anymore. You just had workarounds for the needs of the player.
Exactly. And in terms of home games, typically the people I run home games with, I know well, and I know what boundaries not to push. And people, I mean, you could have a session 0 with your friends, and it could just be world building, because you know what people are comfortable with. You don't need to not every single game needs to have like an upfront, like, oh, okay, this is something I don't like. And if that is the case, that's totally fine. But it doesn't need to happen. It just, as long as everyone at the table is aware of what people are okay with in a game, that is a comfortable space to play the game in. And that's really all we can ask for when we play, because the goal of the game is to have fun. you know?
Right.
And it's regardless of who I'm playing with, my number one goal is to make the game fun and, by proxy, comfortable.
Yeah, the word I like to use is consent. So it's like as long as everybody at the
Yes.
table is consenting to whatever you've agreed to all play at, then you're fine. But as soon as somebody starts going outside of that consent, like let's say you decide no PvP, right?
Mhm.
And then as soon as somebody starts engaging in PvP, you start to have a problem.
Yeah. I mean, really, and this isn't to say, like, oh, I'm advocating against, like, OSR or, like, any of
Right.
your Delta Greens or whatnot, where you're gonna die by the end or whatever. No, I'm not. If that's your cup of tea and you enjoy watching your character be absolutely miserable, go for it.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I'm a
It's your
fan
table.
of Gamma World, and Gamma World is a meat grinder. The whole game is based on you roll your character, you roll your abilities, you build a character by just rolling dice real quick. It takes under an hour to make your characters, and you make like 3 of them, and then you go. And it's just designed to kill you in the most weird, bizarre bunny has have laser eyes or something. Right?
Oh, yeah.
This is nonsense.
Like, I mean, 10 candles, I think, you do die at the end. Like, you
Hmm.
go in, and I think that's why the game is so cool, is because you go in with the mindset that this character is going to die.
Right.
Like, there is nothing you can do about it, no workarounds. By the end of this game, you will be dead. And there is consent in that if you have agreed to play the game, because
Right.
those are the rules. And that's not to say like that DMs or players don't make mistakes, because they do. This is to be human is to err, or however the fuck that saying goes.
Yes.
See, I just err,
To err is human.
and I'm human for the most part, and
I do not think, therefore I am Goblin.
I Goblin.
50 gold.
So really, it's if you mess up, or if the DM messes up and does something you're uncomfortable with, then you can just kind of say to them either afterwards, or you can have like an aside, or like say, hey, can we do like a quick snack break or something, and be like, hey, I was uncomfortable with that. A good DM will be like, oh yeah, sure, sorry, I either was not aware or I fucked up. Let's remedy that.
Right.
It doesn't need to be some big dramatic thing. It doesn't need to be like, oh, maybe you shouldn't be such a little snowflake, and you should come into my game expecting your character to get fucking killed. Well, yeah, I would if you told me in the beginning. Like
Right.
that's kind of like just really setting those from the start, and kind of having like, these are the rules we're going to follow. This is what's going to happen. That's what makes the game a fun experience. Rules
The
be
extra
damned.
communication, yeah.
Yeah, it's the communication.
Now,
And
what if you've got
that's
somebody who
huge.
says, hey, listen, you've agreed, like everybody at your table, like say you have a long running group, as you do, and a new person joins. And you're like, yeah, sure. Is there anything you're uncomfortable with? And they say, no, it's fine. Then they get into PvP, which is fine at your table, but they're not okay with it. Do you rework your whole table, or do you tell them that, hey, maybe the game's not for you?
If the new player that came in was not okay with PvP, it's really situational. I think
agree.
it would depend on how they would react to that. Because if they came in, didn't say like when I asked them, hey, is there anything you're uncomfortable with? Especially like, I wouldn't do that in like a full player setting necessarily. If they're brand new to the game, just like ask them in private, hey, is there something you're not okay with? And if they don't say something, and then it comes up, it's like, actually, I'm not a big fan of this. If it's something super small and specific that they would have no way of knowing would appear in a campaign, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, all right, I can kind of move that
Fair,
around
I guess,
a little
yeah.
bit. That's fine. That's fair. There's no way you would have known. But if it's something that's kind of a little more intrinsic, like PvP, and it is something that is more entrenched in the game you're already running, maybe you should say, listen, this is already a pretty big part of the campaign, and it's not exactly something I can work around. then yeah. And again, this is not meant to be an exclusory thing. Not every table's for everyone. These are the facts,
Yeah.
and that's fine. That's just the way it is. And you don't need to be mean about it, right? You don't need to just bully people out of a table.
Right.
Just some people just shouldn't be at a table, and that's totally fine. I
think
probably shouldn't be at a lot of tables.
Yeah, I think there's value in saying, because one of the first things you described was you compromising as a DM, and I think it's reasonable to expect players to compromise as well, particularly if they want to play with the other people. It's a collaborative game after all.
Yeah. And I mean, there are boundaries that you can set that are lines that can't be crossed. That's fine, because there are some systems that have, I think it's veils and like lines. You can't cross the lines. Like in my games, sexual assault, absolutely not. I do not allow it. If I get head or hair of it, it's like,
I don't want to talk about the number of times I had a character get grappled by tentacles. Multiple characters get grappled by tentacles. Now, nothing happened. There was no description of anything, but it's just like, yours is the only character that grapples, and it's like, of course it is.
Like
all the time.
That's not. I think the DM was a little targeted, should we say?
Different DMs.
Oh, this is a theme.
Oh yeah. Oh
no. You're a tentacle magnet.
I know, right?
Hey. maybe your
next
character's a ranger. Your next character's a ranger whose favorite enemy is anything with tentacles.
Anything with tentacles. That would be fun.
Yeah.
That would be a good time.
Gone. What was I saying? Veils. Veils are stuff that, like, I don't know, you're not super comfortable with, but like you could live with it. Sure. And those are the kind of stuff where you can push it a little bit. Just try not to go there, you know, like but
like kicking puppies.
Boundaries.
Maybe
kicking puppies.
Doesn't want to. Even pushing.
I don't like to do that unless
like
it's
assaulting.
Like a bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless I want to make a bad guy look like a bad guy.
Yeah.
I might, or I might allude to like, oh, this guy is a puppy kicker, and not kick puppies in front of the
There's definitely
it's more like a passive versus active.
I think a good example is just from last night, your spontaneum stream. You had somebody say, hey, listen, I'm not good with harming animals, and you were able to work around that. It's like a halfway point, like a veil there where you were able to bring in like fey nonsense.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, I think a lot of the art of being a game master, dungeon master, keeper, whatever the fuck your system calls it, is
God.
Keeping the stakes. It's this balance between keeping the game comfortable, because that's when it's enjoyable, but also having stakes that may or may not be anxiety-inducing because people are connected to their characters. Finding that midpoint is essential, and that can slide. The midpoint can slide a lot depending on which side is heavier. I mean, for a lighter game, I don't want it to be super, like, anxiety-inducing, you know?
Right,
There's not really a reason for that. But if I'm playing a serious long-term campaign, I'm not super big into, like, torture or anything. I'll do a good gory kill, though. I'm big into that. That's my it's my thing. But like psychological torture, that's my shit as a GM. Like typically, like
somebody hands you their character, and you're like, I would.
Yeah, I'm like, listen, you hand me a character, you hand me these NPCs. Listen, I don't like killing characters, I'm being real honest. But will I mentally fuck up your character beyond repair? Will I kill all of their friends and turn them into something they didn't want to become? With your permission? Oh yes, I will delight in it.
That is honestly, also one of my favorites. I have this whole plan. Well, you're familiar with Grazits, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so anybody who doesn't know who Grazitz is, because I'm sure there's some people listening who don't know who Grazitz is, he's a demon lord. And he's the demon lord of, like, sexiness, basically. And so what I wanted to do was I wanted to have a long-term campaign and have Grazitz basically be one of the romanceable NPCs that one of the characters marries and, like, has a kid with. And then, so, like, this is a 3 to 5 year long plan. They romance this person. They were Grazitz the whole time. And Grazitz is basically going around making relationships with adventurers on purpose to create stronger offspring, right? So their lover or husband or wife or significant other, whatever, and their child are gone. They don't, like, they come back from an adventure and they're gone because it was Grazitz. And have time be wibbly wobbly, so by the time they get to the abyss, the kid's already like a teenager, and they're like, "Oh, so you're coming into my life now?"
Yeah, where were you, Mom? Okay, deadbeat mom.
Yeah, exactly.
You gonna play catch with me now, huh?
Right.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Like
my demon dad's so much cooler than you.
I totally wanted to, like, set a scene where there's, like, a fire with, like, souls burning behind him, but it's, like, a big, like, nice foyer lounge, and he's got, like, I don't know, like a sheet over his junk, and he's laying there, like, paint you like one of your French girls, and he's laying on, like, a rug, but the rug is made out of a quaddle.
Oh my god.
And he's got, like, a glass of wine, and he's like, "I've been waiting for you, darling."
That is such a fucking Grazit move.
Right?
I'm not even remotely surprised. I'm like, yeah, that's typical.
It's a 5-year-long plan where he gets to torment mortals and make stronger offspring and have sex. He's all about it.
That's the 3-way Venn diagram right there. That's a
right?
win on all fronts. Oh, yeah.
Like, somebody's asked me to draw it. I did. I painted that. I painted Grazitz on a coddle. I painted that. It's always good to have an artist in the campaign.
I saw in chat that said, like, Vecna doesn't have any waifus or husbandos. Not with that attitude.
Yeah. Come on.
My games, though? Never know.
Having Cass.
Lore be damned.
Oh, no, use the
lore. I
am
the lore.
Just put it one step further. Use Cass. Cass is, like, his estranged.
Oh,
they're divorced.
Yeah, they're estranged. They're divorced. The Sword of Cass is like the child that Cass got custody over.
Yeah.
The sword's like, Dad is so much cooler than you. Ugh. Fuck you, Vecna. You're not my dad.
You're not my real dad.
You're my real dad.
Some poor character has the Sword of Cass being wielded by the hand of Vecna that they also have with the eye, and the sword is just, like, constantly fighting with the hand and the eye.
That is a recipe for disaster right there.
There's so much you can come up with just, like, spitballing nonsense, and you can take that and it can be the funniest thing and the darkest thing at the same time.
I mean, dark comedy is good shit. I mean, you can have both.
Hey, you want to psychologically break a character, have them holding the items of both estranged parties in, like...
Yeah, that would drive me insane in about 15 minutes.
Especially if one of them is, like, if they're a warlock or something, and one of them is granting them power. So it's just... So they're, like, fighting over you.
That would be funny. I think we had something similar like that happen in the campaign where somebody had 2 warlock patrons. And the way that worked is that they just had one warlock subclass, essentially. Mm-hmm. But their 2 patrons were, like, just... I think it was 2 angels, and they were just really passive-aggressive towards each other. It was fucking hilarious.
Oh my god, you're a warlock, your patron is Vecna, and you're wielding the Sword of Cass. Like, just nonsense ensues.
That would hurt you.
Yes.
That would probably just be very painful just to have all the time.
Yep.
Like, put me down, you fucking asshole.
Get out of here. Why are you doing
Vecna
this?
He's not my fucking dad.
Tell me it was child support.
Vecna owes child support for the fucking sword.
For the past 3 centuries.
that's gonna rack up. Holy shit!
The interest.
Maybe that's your warlock. Your warlock's goal is to adventure to get the child support money Vecna needs for this sort of cost.
Yes. That's
the driving force.
Your patron is Vecna, and the goal is make money so I can pay off my child support debt to Cass for the sword.
Listen, I may be unto a dark god, but I don't have that much money. Listen, things are rough around this house.
Oh, that'd be amazing. Now I want to do it.
God, that sounds like a fantastic character idea.
Right? I would think it'd be funny just to surprise somebody with that. Like, they have Vecna as their warlock patron for, like, a little while, and it's, like, level 10, they find out that this is what they're doing. They have no idea.
So, if you're an all-powerful lich, why do I have to keep sending gold to you? Funny story. He took the sword in the divorce settlement, and, well, things didn't break cleanly, shall we say.
Oh, no.
Oh, God, I wanna play that now. It sounds fantastic.
So how did you actually get into ttrpgs? Was Dungeons & Dragons your first one? And did you start off as a DM, or did you have to make that player to DM switch?
So, my first... I didn't
You're
realize it,
natural
but
at
my first...
DM stuff.
Thank you. That was not where I started. My first ttrpg was actually a little game called Fiasco, which is a lot of fun. It's kind of like the Coen Brothers ttrpg. I am such a huge Coen Brothers fan. My favorite movie ever is The Big Lebowski. I go absolutely apeshit for that kind of stuff, and I love Fiasco. But my first ever D&D was my second ttrpg, and my uncle ran it. It was 5th edition. You know, I am a baby. I'm a baby boy. So 5th edition was my first edition of Dungeons & Dragons. Aww. And I remember my uncle ran a game, and my cousins, he and my cousins had been running this campaign for, I think, a few months at this point, and he invited my brother and I over to just do this little, we would guest in a game, essentially. I was like, yeah, cool, I've never played Dungeons & Dragons, that sounds like fun. And it took me, like, 2 hours to make my first character, which is a Drow Fiend Warlock, which really kind of sets the tone. And, I got TPK'd in the first session. I was that age. I was, like, 14. But yeah, we got TPK'd in the first session because my brother and my cousin decided to take the jeweled eyes from the statue, and the roof caved in, and we were picked off by the enemy party, which was not fun for my cousins who had been playing this game for months. But my brother and I were like, this was fucking sweet. Let's do this again.
And so wait, was it your brother that pulled the eyes?
Yeah, my brother was a dumbass.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, so it wasn't one of the cousins. One of the cousins who've been playing this for months was like, no.
Oh no, the two of them, my cousin helped my brother onto the statue, and then
so he
pulled
did
the
it
jump.
too. All right.
I'm like, don't do it. That's dumb. And he's like, I'm gonna take the jump. I'm gonna take the jump. And we all died. And ever since, yeah, I've been DMing for oh my goodness. 5e TPKs don't happen that much. I've only done a couple.
I've done a few.
Yeah, they're enjoyable. If you do them, you're like, oh well, make some new characters, I suppose. The dice roll where they may.
Yeah, fair.
But yeah, I started DMing, I think 5 years ago at this point. That sounds about right. I wasn't super into it. Like, I wasn't a big podcaster until, like...
Sure.
Oh, Jesus. When was that? Almost 2 years ago.
Right.
So I was just running games for people, having fun with that. And I was an okay DM. I had a lot to learn. Holy shit. I still do, because I'm baby. But it just takes time, you know. And I'm
Takes practice.
playing other systems. Yeah, and playing other systems, especially kind of like bastardize my own version of 5th
Oh
edition.
yeah,
I find a lot of
absolutely.
fun.
Steal
Like, Fate?
everything always.
Fate is such a cool system. Like having like one of my favorite homebrew rules now that I've kind of bastardized from Fate is that if you take a very large amount of damage, I will allow you to instead take half of the damage and then a consequence, like you lose your
halving
arm
the damage,
or you
that's
go
a good
blind.
idea.
Like some big shit that usually 5e just doesn't allow, because when you're hit by damage, you take damage. And that damage is usually just like, you got kind of skimmed. Look at you go.
Or arms or eyes and stuff. And there's like some alt tables for that exist, but I never considered halving the damage in exchange, like as a player option. That's super interesting.
I really like it because I think the best example, one, I had a player who was about to get absolutely murked by disintegration. And what they decided to do instead is their lower half got dusted. They decided to just dust their lower half. And what I allowed them to do is like, look, the semantics of the spell is that you are gone if you die. Like if you're reduced to 0 hit points, you're just gone.
Right.
So what I'm going to do for you is you're going to be alive, but you will be actively making death saving throws because you no longer have the lower half of your body. And they somehow managed to fucking pull it off, and they got like Darth Maul spider legs after the fact. And it was
oh my god, they're like a mech strider.
Oh, mech drider. Yeah. It
That's
was
so cool.
I really like the mechanic. I think that was
it definitely adds like a lot of flavor and a lot of options, especially if your players are creative with it.
Right, and because I don't like that 5e is so... Well, I like that 5e is basic because it's easier to get into as a new player. That's cool. But just the fact that, like, flavoring damage in a way that is mechanically more or less permanent is, like, very, very non-existent in 5e. It's just not a thing. You do generally need the lower half. That is true.
They do have the madness tables, which are fun.
They do, but even so, indefinite madness is so rarely ever used, you know?
I find the amount of time is also lower, so I just take the ones from the lower amount of time and bump them, either make them last longer, or I like kind of pick and choose and put them into the permanent.
Yeah. I've done that before. But like you never see somebody like lose a limb or like lose an eye.
Yeah, like, very rarely.
That's the crazy shit. And I don't want, because that's not in the rules, I don't want to have to make a character like be like, hey, listen, you might lose limbs. It's gonna suck. That's kind of a weird way to start a campaign. But so like I like to give them choices. Like, listen, you could take half damage. You're gonna lose your right arm. I will say.
There's also like options for regeneration as well, right? So if you're high enough level, you can go get yourself, or if you have enough money, you can potentially go find yourself a cleric who would be able to pay off that kind of a spell, or maybe divine interventions in some cases, or a wish spell.
Oh yeah. I mean, also like,
or kill yourself, make whole, and then resurrect them.
You could do that. You could do. I mean, prosthetics in like Eberron and shit are fucking wacky anyways.
Oh, yeah.
So that's always a cool option. But I mean, also the Eye of Vecna's gotta go somewhere. So I mean, you lose an eye, that's an open slot, baby.
Yeah, that was free real estate.
Free real estate. Yeah, but really, I kind of like the creative flavor. Or like if you have a player fail on a really important check and be like, here, you can succeed on it, but it's gonna cost you. Because that's a lot more narratively fun than just being like, you fucked up. Oops.
Damage.
Sorry.
You did.
Damage. You're fireball.
The wild
really
magic
anything
table.
That makes it more interesting. Oh god. I remember at one point I used a D10,000 wild magic table, but it just got too tedious. It was like, okay, I gotta scroll through like 90 pages.
Yikes.
No, it's not. I just like, either I use the official wild magic table or just come up with an effect on the spot, like, that seems reasonable.
Seems fun.
Yeah, seems fun.
I like limiting the table and then expanding it as they get more powerful.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, it starts off a little bit smaller, and then you can kind of pick and choose. So that way you, at level 1, they're not accidentally inherently dropping a fireball on top of their party.
Yeah, nuking the entire party.
Immediately.
Yeah, I love how that is an option. That is something that has probably happened to somebody at level 1. That I guarantee you has happened. Thank you, Wizards of the Coast.
Thank you, said the plotted plant.
Thank you. Yeah, that's 22 on the Wild Magic table. I have memorized it out of spite.
My favorite one is the flumps. 1d6 flumps appear adjacent to you. They are frightened of you. They're
just vibing. They're hanging out.
I want to know what kind of flumps they are. Are you from... Okay, so you're a newer DM. You started playing in 5th edition because you were a baby.
Yes.
And so how much lore have you consumed? Because there's like...
I make my own lore. I could not care less about Faerun.
Now, do you keep your lore consistent, like, across your games?
No.
It's just whatever for that game.
No. It depends. Well, some games I do have take place in the same universe.
Sure.
Listen, if I make like a giant Google Doc table of like every single thing for the world rules and like the Pantheon, I'm probably gonna have more than one game in it. For an upcoming project that I can't go into too many specifics about. I have 2 different Google sheets for that, all of which have like 9 subsheets, each of which have like pantheons, how magic works, factions, NPCs. There's a glossary of terms. It is in depth. I've never gone as in depth as I have for this because I love making lore. I love it so much. I love it more than anything else. Making maps, not so much. I get somebody else to do that for me.
That's what hold on, what's his Twitter? There's a guy that does maps. He's fantastic, and they cost like it's like $1 for like a month for a bajillion maps.
Oh my god, how am I blanking? He's Mappy. Yeah, Maps and Quests.
Maps and Quests. That's what it is.
Yeah, he's a champ. He made a map for the Shitty Nut Compendium. So one of his maps is in that book.
Nice.
Map of the Shitadel. So yeah, I'm excited for it to come out.
I am the Great Mighty Pooh. Patron.
Yes, deity. That is. I am, as I've been told, the Lord of Excrement, which is the coolest thing anyone has ever called me.
That's so good. Damn it, I wish I knew that. I would have made that your little subtitle on the name tag.
That would have been funny. I think that's my Discord.
Next time.
Little, status thing.
That's amazing.
But yeah, that is...
So, do you have any other rules that you, pick and don't pick? Like, do you mess with grappling or... any of the
grappling rarely comes up. I don't do encumbrance just because I fucking hate math.
Who does encumbrance? The only time I ever do encumbrance is if they're doing something obviously they've been carrying around a slab of stone door for a month. I'm gonna be like, okay, could you stop?
Yeah. In specific cases, obviously, but I don't do that. I don't typically track if it's mundane ammo. I typically don't care unless it's in a wild. I have a Wild West game that I run.
Yes.
There I track the hell out of ammo because I'm like, listen, you guys are only using guns. You gotta know.
I definitely find it situationally. So if they're in town, I don't. But whenever they leave town, I'm like, are you shopping for anything? And so if they're going to leave town and they don't know where they're going, or they're going to leave town and they don't know how long they're going to be gone, or they're going to leave town and they're going into the fucking tundra to find a troll castle and they have no idea how long it's going to take them from get to point A and point B, or how many encounters are going to happen along the way, then I start... Yeah. I don't keep a super specific tally, but I will say, hey, listen, keep track of your shit. And then after like 1 or 2 encounters, or particularly food in that, like survival gear at that point, I'll make them roll survival checks and save more food. But I'll be like, okay, it's been like 3 days. How much shit did you bring?
Yeah.
Start checking my watch.
If you're an artificer, you could just have infinite ammo if you have an infusion.
Right.
So I mean that'll sometimes take care of it. But yeah,
make food and water as a wizard.
Yeah. Typically, I just kind of tend to ignore more mathy stuff because I like telling a story. DM inspiration in 5e, I hate it. I hate inspiration. I hate the default, I will say. I prefer to use leveled inspiration, which is depending on how cool something is.
So you just match the bar table?
The box. It kind of. It depends, because I go D4 to D12. Very rarely I've done a D20 once or twice. But yeah, what I allow it to do though is you have like a pool of them. It's not like you just have one DM inspiration at any given time. You have a pool, and you can just accumulate as many as you want, and you can expend multiple on a roll at once.
That's terrifying.
Which has come back to bite me.
Oh yeah,
many times.
I don't.
Which I like because it kind of gives the players a little bit more narrative control. Like if they know they need to make this shot, by God, they're gonna put their inspiration on it.
Yeah, put everything into it. Yeah,
and it just makes sense, you know.
Do you make them do it before you tell them if they succeed or not, or are you loosey-goosey about that?
I'm a little loosey-goosey about it. Typically, I don't care. There are some instances, I think it's, if it says in the rules that they need to, like, apply it beforehand, like, with smites, like certain smite spells, like branding smite, I'm gonna make you apply it beforehand. That's just rules as written. That makes more sense, because Paladin's Divine Smite feature is fucking broken, and the fact that you could say, oh, I hit Divine Smite, that's nuts. That is insane. Oh, I crit? Yeah, I'm definitely putting my highest level smite on this. Great thing I came prepared. I main Paladin, if you couldn't tell. But
never would have guessed.
Oh yeah, I love a good Paladin.
I have an entire cloister of Paladins that I've been working on, and they're atheists. So they're cult of atheist Paladins, and they're like, see, we can do magic tool, gods are fake, but they have no clerics. They're only Paladins because they believe in themselves.
That's why I much prefer Paladins to clerics, because clerics, I mean, I think it is a little looser than it has been in older editions.
Oh, definitely.
But it is still, for the most part, like, you gotta be following a god, you gotta be a little religious. With Paladins, you could do fucking anything, man. It could be like, I'm believing in the fact that Havarti cheese is the best cheese. Anyone who says otherwise, I will decapitate them. I will conquest cheese Paladin. Havarti cheese is the best cheese, and I will spread that to the goddamn planet. That is not only, in my opinion, that's a viable Paladin, but also that's a rules as written, perfectly fine Paladin. You could have that, and it would technically be lore accurate.
I like the cleric is definitely looser than it has been. In older editions, you had to be good aligned to be a Paladin. Yeah. Whereas now, you can be any alignment and be a Paladin. You can be any alignment and be a cleric, because there's going to be a deity that will align with you. And if one doesn't, make one up. Use Brassicus Prime from RuneScape. You know, the patron god of cabbages.
RuneScape was actually a little bit before my time. I was a big Webkins guy.
I went too far. A lot of people will compare like 5th edition and say 5th edition is nondescript enough compared to like 3 and 3.5, because 3.5 had so much. Like, it's huge, and it's because it existed for how many years, and then it also had all the dragon magazines and dungeon magazines where you have like things like Pun, right? And if you've not heard of Pun, I will send it to you. It's hilarious. Basically, you're a kobold god at level 3. You're unkillable. You're infinitely powerful and infinitely... But in 3.5, you didn't have athletics. You had swimming, jumping, climbing. And in some cases, it's nice to have specifics, but in other cases, it's like, and it'll just be athletics. Whereas 4.5 was super, super dumbed down. I liken it more to a card game. Because, like, you have your at-will powers, you have your encounter powers, and you have your days.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And so you have green cards, blue cards, and red cards. And you say, hey, listen, it's my turn. I want to play this, this, and this. And they just do whatever they say on the card. You get your green cards back. You don't get your red cards back until the end of the day. And at the end of the encounter, you get your gray ones or whatever the color they were. Whereas 5th edition's got a lot of room to finagle. So there's some stuff that's not there, but how do you feel about it?
I'm a finagler, I will say. One thing I really, really don't like about 5th edition, and I like 5th edition. I like it a lot. The fact that dexterity is so good. Like, it is so many skills. It is the better way to do armor class in general. And then intelligence is generally just shit unless you are using it. Like,
unless you're a wizard.
That sucks. That sucks. Unless you're a wizard or an artificer. I love playing an intelligence-based fighter. That is so cool. That is so much fun. Just because, like, not even like Eldritch Knight. You know? Dex and Con are where it's at. Yeah, Dex, Con, and Wisdom. You play a monk. I mean, those are the only 3 things you need. Yep. That's all you need.
Oh, the rough thing about the monk is that you
have an armor class. 3. Yeah, but, like, that's all you need. Barbarian needs, like, 4 if you really want to get the full meat of the class. With monk, you can get to a 20 armor class.
Oh yeah,
and be completely viable with just 2 stats.
Yep.
Barbarian, you need 3, at the very least 3. But monk, 2 stats, you're good. That's all you need.
You got all the reduced damage on the barbarian.
That is true. That is true.
Imagine having 23 AC on the absolute meat chunk that is a barbarian while you're taking reduced damage. Like, that'd be bonkers.
Oh yeah, I am such an AC goblin. That is when I'm in max, I make it so I can't get hit. I remember this was a Hunger game, so this is not legit, but I got to a static 28 at one point, and my DM despised me for it.
Yeah.
But
that's when you start throwing things that don't need to hit your AC. That's how you deal with that.
No. Yeah, of course.
There's plenty of spells.
I think it's with Barbarian.
You also have evasion?
If you have no magic items, and with evasions, I didn't have evasion, but I did have Shield Master, which is functionally similar.
Yeah.
But with I think Barbarian, if you don't have any magical items, Barbarian I think is the highest armor class you can get, just simply by its own merit.
Yeah, I think so.
Because you have level 20 Barb, right, is 21 AC, right? If you have max Dex, max Con, because you're up to 22 now, 24 now. So actually it's 22 AC, and then if you have just a shield, you're up to 24. That's no magic items.
Nothing says a barbarian.
If you're a Warforged, right? You're a Warforged. Well, no, Warforged integrates into armor, so I don't think that would. Does that count, or is that a static +1 bonus?
No, because the shield is something different from armor. Yeah. The shield is separate from armor. It's like an item held versus like your
Dex save. Don't care about your AC. It does care about your AC if your AC is Dex based. If I'm a monk, Dex save could eat my ass. I don't care. I have evasion. It doesn't matter anymore. I have a monk. I have a massively high AC, and now I can't get hit by Dex saves.
Monks
additionally, with like the Diamond Mind, you get all the saves. You get proficiency in all of them because fuck you. You're not hitting my
fall off a little bit, but that's mostly because they're controllers. If you notice, like as you scale up as a monk, you become more utility based and less pop based. Whereas like the fighter, depending on which fighter you take, you're getting more damage as you scale, which doesn't and same with like the rogue, which doesn't quite as much happen with the it's the same problem the ranger has. I find people don't like rangers, but I find the reason people don't like rangers because they expect them to be DPS and they're not DPS.
Oh, they can be. Ranger is probably my favorite class to multi-class with.
Oh, absolutely.
You get a ranger, a Gloomstalker ranger, Assassin rogue.
Yep.
Done.
Yep.
you're done.
But you have to multi-class.
It's fantastic. You got a multi-class. Ranger's very good for multi-classing. I even will play the class by itself.
They're good for utility.
But it's so good for multi-classing. It's fantastic.
I gotta do a whole video just about Rangers, only because I really think that people hate the class because they don't know how to utilize it.
People hate the class because they were around for 5th edition when Tasha's wasn't out yet. Tasha's really helped the class a lot.
Yeah.
And yeah, before Tasha's, like, if you wanted to play a Beastmaster with just the PHB, you're a little your
DM's
silly.
gonna have to help you.
You're a little goofy.
Yeah,
you're gonna have to get some extra push from the DM, which is fine. I mean,
just
listen,
gotta make
the game. I wouldn't even say the game
companion better.
The game's not about being viable; it's about having fun. And if you have fun,
right,
getting your ass kicked, good for you.
I mean, yeah, sometimes some people do. Some people like getting grappled by tentacles every 20 minutes.
I am assuming it's not you.
Hey, listen, when you build a character that's all about utility, because the monk in 4th edition was all about like push, pull, control, knock somebody prone, push them that direction. When everything you fight for months is immune to all of it, and you're the off tank, and your tanks miss the sessions, it's brutal. And they're all tentacles, and you're the only girl.
That does add a bit of a layer to it, doesn't it?
It really does. It was a lot of fun, though. It was fun. I tease. Halfly.
Halfly.
All right, so we are getting to the hour mark. So I do want to know, I have one last question for sure that I need to get answered is, what's your favorite use of a spell? So it doesn't have to be your favorite spell, but the favorites like that you've seen somebody use or thought of yourself that you're like, that's amazing.
I have a couple. My favorite
yes, give me all of them.
Favorite ever, and this is a bit of just silly semantics, and
Good.
I am a man of silly semantics. Using prestidigitation to shit somebody else's pants is by far the greatest use of any spell.
Classic.
It's a classic.
Classic.
I had a whole goblin whose deal was just saying, I'm gonna poop your pants. How threatening is that? That's a terrifying thing to say to someone.
It is.
Because it makes them think for a second. You're like, wait, you said you're gonna poop my pants? And then you're like, oh, okay. Okay. Another one I saw, I mean, you could do so much with shape water. You can really, I remember seeing I think it was a water genasi, like, it was for like a mafioso campaign. So he was like a, kind of, what's that called? Enforcer. And he used shape water to like drown people. I was like, are you still not ready to talk? Okay, I'll take you to the dance. See you like that, huh?
He was using shape water to waterboard people.
Mobile waterboarding, essentially. And I think one that was really cool is if you cast haste on an enemy and then instantly drop it, they get that 1 round, like, I think lethargy or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And you can just go nuts on them. Like, that is kind of, and I mean, there's no save. There's nothing they can do about it. You get 1 point of
exhaustion, right? Which means you have disadvantage on all of your skill checks.
Yeah, is it 1 point of it? Because
you want me to double check?
I can't remember. Right, yeah, please do. Because it's either exhaustion or offensive. You can't take an action or something like that.
Yeah, you might like lose a turn, basically.
You lose a turn, yeah, which is absolutely vile for like single boss encounters.
Oh my god, that's horrific. It's terrifying.
Yeah, if you do that, and then you got a Grave Cleric and an Assassin Rogue, it's done.
Yeah, you're right. It's when the spell ends, the target can't move or take actions until after its next turn. So
exactly.
As a wave of lethargy sweeps over it. Oh my god. Concentration up to a minute. So you cast it on your turn, drop it on your turn, and they don't have a turn.
Yeah, I mean, you can
it says actions plural. That means no reactions, no bonus action, no move action, no action.
Oh yeah, you can drop it whenever you want, even.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's kind of like a remote detonator to be like, all right, it's fucko time. And just click the button and then just go crazy on them.
And it's only 3rd level.
Yeah,
so
it's
you
nuts.
can drop, like... Oh my god. If you're any level of caster, you can basically drop that. Like, if you're a straight caster, not a half caster, you'd be able to drop that, like, 4 times in a row.
Yeah.
Easily.
Listen, if you're a DM and you want to just absolutely just mind fuck your players, cast it on like their barbarian or something, and watch their face change from like surprised happiness to just dread in a second.
That would almost be fun to put on a glyph.
Oh my god! Oh my god! A glyph of lethargy.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow, that's something
That's
else.
A booby trap.
That is a booby trap right there.
Like, they walk into the room, the doors do that, like, Zelda close thing. The glyphs go off, the entire party is hasted, and then a bunch of spiders drop from the ground, and the haste drops. Surprise round, and then you don't get a turn, party dies. Spiders. The full floor is also covered in webs, so if you try to move, you're slowed.
Yeah, that's curtains right there.
Oh boy.
Gotta make a really good investigation check for those traps, because otherwise...
This is the kind of shit you do to a party that's, like, either A, been fucking around and is about to find out, or B, is just, like, really, really high level.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, you gotta make them scared.
Yeah.
You gotta keep those stakes high.
Put the fear of God in them. This is the first room.
Yeah, in this
Suck my dick
in the Wild West game I'm playing, I have this they're level 20 now, because like I power leveled them up, I think 9 levels, because they like reached the apocalypse. It was this whole thing. Nice. And 20th level artificers, very, very, very scary, and it's extremely hard to hit, like extremely hard to kill. And the only way I was able to actually do any damage is by having an enemy with like a plus like 14 to hit. Like, it had to be something that would annihilate any of my other players.
Nice.
Like, oh, you're the tank? Yeah, I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry. You're gonna... And he was so like, yeah, okay, you tried to hit me. I'm like, did you just challenge me? Okay,
around, find out. Oh, no.
Yeah, I think I knocked him unconscious, and he was like, okay.
Knock him out in 1 round, and it's just like...
It took a while. His AC was like 27 with shield if you reaction casted it. It was nuts. But yeah.
Well, half the time you just gotta like sort of burn through their resources for the first couple of rooms, so that way that's how you get things to escalate and to matter, and how they get invested in combat is that you don't have to have long running combats, but if you have combats that are quickly in succession, so that they don't really get to short rest, they don't have time to long rest, you might be able to have a bard drop like a Song of Reprise or whatever, and they get to use their hit dice, but that'd be about it, and they're burning a spell slot for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Or they're burning inspiration, whatever it is, they're burning for that.
Whatever, yeah.
You burn through their resources, right? It's all about action economy, and you have to remember as a DM, your action is the whole dungeon, not just one encounter.
Right, yeah.
That's really smart. I love that haste. Oh my god.
Yeah, the haste one. That's not my idea or anything. I saw it.
God, that's brilliant.
Yeah, I read a story about him, like, and I tried it on stream. I was on somebody else's stream, and I did that on their final encounter, and they were like, "Wait, what are you doing?" And they're like, "Wait, I can't do saves against this." I'm like, "Nope, no, you cannot."
It doesn't say anything about a willing creature or anything. It says...
No, you just cast it.
You just cast it. There's no... Yeah. It doesn't say... Hold on, I'm going to go read the whole spell just to make sure.
Probably one of the best spells in the entire game.
It's not even melee.
Can be both used offensively or defensively.
It's
like a 60?
30.
30?
It's a 30-foot range. So if you have a sorcerer cast it and they use metamagic...
Twin spell
distance cast.
Oh my god! You could get 2 people with this! Oh.
2 people with it from 60 feet away. Potentially while they're flying.
Oh my god.
It is a concentration spell, that's the only other thing.
I mean, if you drop it instantly.
If you drop it instantly, yeah, but if you have anything else that you have up already, then...
Oh, that is true.
But
yeah.
Choose a willing... No, it does say a willing creature. Choose a willing creature that you see within range, but who's going to be unwilling to take a free haste? Who's going to be
unwilling to be hasted? Exactly.
Right?
You mean be like, hey, there you go. There you go.
Until the spell ends, the target's speed is doubled. It gains a +2 bonus to AC and has advantage on dexterity saving throws and gains an additional action on each of its turns. The action can be used only to take the attack, one weapon attack only, dash, disengage, hide, or use an object.
I mean, really, if you want to talk about willing, be like, I've changed sides. I'm going to, like, you could say to, like, your enemy, I'm going to cast haste on you. I've changed sides. And then the villain's like, okay, well, are you lying to them? No, I'm going to cast haste on them. And then you drop it.
Then you drop it. Or put it on glyph and just make a save for it.
Yeah.
Or just be like, you're hasted. Do you not want to be?
Yeah, would you not? Yeah, exactly.
Who doesn't want to be hasted?
Okay. Up to you.
Just as long as they don't see it coming. That's brilliant. Yeah. I love that. I learned something new today to torment my players with, and that's all I really ask for. You have paid the price for being on the channel.
Yes. Yeah, tell them Sam sent you. No, I'm kidding.
I will. I'm gonna make the character's name Sam that does this.
Oh God.
He's gonna be a goblin.
No. Oh, that is perfect. Yeah, right? I'll take that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a goblin who is a divination wizard who gave up his powers as a wizard to become a lich. So he's a divination lich goblin.
That's rad. People always think of liches as like normal humanoids or whatever. Where are my centaur liches?
Right?
Come on. Like a skeletal horse lich? That's fucking rad.
Right?
Where the hell is that? Like, that would be pretty cool. Like a Simic hybrid lich with a bunch of dead arms sticking to him?
Bullywug? Swim speed lich?
Underwater lich would be spooky. Yeah.
I like using the goblin lich just because nobody ever expects it. He just turns around and you see the chair and you see no, like, head or anything. He's
no feet dangling.
Good evening. Now his feet are dangling. You can see them. So like you found my lair. Finally. I've been waiting for you. He's still got the ears.
Oh, the really long
ears. We're all about it. All right. Is there anything from your campaigns that you can tell us that the players don't know yet? Or do you want to? You don't have to if you don't want to. Like secret lore that you have that the players have either never come across or don't know yet.
Oh, secret lore.
Mine is squirrels.
I'm trying to... Squirrels?
Yes. So, the big reveal is that the whole plane, that the whole continent that the players are playing on are actually the demi-lich's demi-plane. Or sorry, the lich's demi-plane, right? And so, there's a whole reason why. Basically, a bunch of wizards got together, and he was the one that sacrificed and became the lich to basically take this continent and pop it out of reality, and it exists in its own little time thing. So if it exists in a bubble, so time continues on, but this place is stuck on repeat, and it's outside of reality in this demi-plane. And so if the players die, they go back to a previous point in the campaign.
That's cool.
Right? And so the thing is, and they meet the Goblin Lich way early. He's just the only goblin that they meet that isn't like a stupid horde. He's a shopkeeper that's like has this crystal ball and he says he'll read your future for 50 gold and he offers you to draw from the deck of many things for 50 gold.
Oh, that's pretty cheap actually. So
he's like this and he's like 50 gold. I will tell you your future. And then if they're like, whatever, and it's like, oh, you don't believe me? That person over there will die. And then he uses Finger of Death and just kills somebody. Told you, 50 gold. Right? Yeah. But the squirrels are basically, all of the squirrels on the demiplane are sentient. Nobody knows this. They deliver the news. There's a newspaper that you... There's a newspaper that you can buy that will. Some of it tracks the party once they start doing important enough things, so they get to read about themselves in the newspaper. If they pay for the newspaper, but they're squirrels and they're just around, and if you're paying close enough attention, the squirrels are like taking notes and shit. And anywhere on the continent on Sunday, they will deliver you a paper.
That's nuts.
They're also run by the Demi-Lich.
So
the Demi-Lich knows everything that's going on in his.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta control the media, right?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
For my world, in a campaign I'm running, this world has multiple kind of moons that are like these big crystals that reflect the sun, essentially, that kind of like do little beams and stuff. And well, I don't think the party knows yet, is that lycanthropes, which I'm using generally, don't be like, oh, lycan means wolf and land, fuck off. It's a lycanthrope generally, okay?
The
Lycanthropes
disease.
on the diseased, or I mean, it's not even really disease, it's more of a hereditary thing in this setting. Depending on the light of which refracted moon they're under, their powers and like morphing whatever is different. So it depends on what parts of the moon. And during like a full eclipse, depending on how many moons, which moons, they change shape. They're like there are some that boost strength and intelligence. There are some that boost dex and wisdom. Some that boost con and charisma. So it depends on which moon they're under. So I've got a whole system written up for that too. So I'm really hoping somebody gets bit, because then
somebody needs to
I can bring out the table.
Oh, that's amazing. So do you run? Are they all werewolves, or are they werebears?
Oh no,
or were-rats?
Like I said, for lycanthropes, sapient. Lycanthropes are I'm using the term very generally for any shifting thing. So really, I'm playing it pretty fast with any animals that these folks can turn into.
Very cool. Do you run alignments?
Do I run alignments?
Yeah.
No. I have it so that shifting is not based upon when the moon's out, like, oh no, the full moon's out, no, I'm a werewolf. It's more like, I think 5e, how 5e does it, which is it's by choice.
Right.
But the thing is, there is a certain kind of material that makes them not themselves. And so they avoid that at all costs.
Does the Greater Restoration cure them, or do they have to, like...
It's not a disease.
Oh, okay.
It's not even a disease, it's just a thing that is.
It's not a disease or a curse, it's just... exists.
No, it's just imagine it as most of them are viewed as a gift, because it does come in handy more so than it doesn't.
And if you don't lose control, then
in the cases that it doesn't, though, it doesn't. So you just gotta be pretty careful about it. But yeah,
that's so cool. I love it. I want to see a write-up of this one day. If you ever do and you ever share it, please let me see it, because I would be blessed.
Oh yeah.
All right.
I'm planning on getting it all done.
I'm so excited, and you have a whole nother project coming up, and you've got the new streams that you're doing over on Twitch and the VODs. Is it the VODs available on YouTube there?
Yep. I just so if you looked at my pinned tweet, it's now under that where the YouTube channel's available if you want to watch anything that comes out on that Twitch channel. But yeah.
Yes, go subscribe over there. I'm going to let you go. This has been fantastic. I enjoyed having you so much. I hope that you will be willing to come back again sometime. This was a lot of fun. Chill, what do you got?
I'm kidding. Yes, of course.
Oh! I will be a sad penguin.
Also, if you want to be on Spontaneum at some point, definitely for sure. Definitely for sure.
I would love to. I would
bring that goblin energy, though. That's mandatory.
I will bring Murphy. I have a goblin. He is a goblin bard, and as far as he's concerned, he is the greatest goblin bard ever, because he's never met another goblin bard, and he's a glamour bard.
Oh, fantastic. That's perfect. That's perfect. I love it so much. Yeah, 100%.
Awesome. All right, so go subscribe to Spontaneum. Go find Sam at his Twitter. Links are all down below. Go follow all that, and we will catch you guys next time. Bye.
See ya.